Starbucks has an extraordinary history, and we're going to explore some of that history today. But I want to start by looking at where you started, and I'd like you to tell us a little bit about what it was like growing up in the projects in Brooklyn in the 50s and 60s.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, and thank you all for coming. I really appreciate it very much. My story, I think, has been well told in that I grew up in what is entitled in America the projects, which is federally subsidized housing. Really, literally on the other side of the tracks. My dad never made more than $20,000 a year. He was a blue-collar worker. And I think I saw, as a young child, the fracturing of the American dream, in that, unfortunately, my parents were not educated, and they didn't have the resources to take advantage of what America really had to offer. And I think that really did shape how I would see the world. If I took you to where I grew up, the odds on me getting from there to here is not something you would have bet on. And I think I was very fortunate to put myself in a position to succeed, but also I've had a lot of luck, a lot of good fortune. But I do say in the book, and when I speak to young people, I think something that happens along the way is that people are somehow encouraged that perhaps they're dreaming too big or their dreams can't come true. And what I try and encourage young people to avoid is don't allow anybody, friends, family, even your parents, to tell you you're aiming too high. Because if you look at my story, it's not a Hollywood movie. It's real, it's authentic, and it happened to me. I'm not smarter than anyone else, and it can happen to you. Business is a team sport. It's not about one person. And I think I learned that on the sports field. And specifically what I mean is success is best when it's shared. You have to be willing, I think, to share the spotlight with others. And if you look at the entire history of our company, what we've tried to do, essentially, is build a company that would balance profitability with a social conscience, and that started with our people. And what we've tried to do, I think, more than anything else, is recognize that you can't exceed the expectations of your customers as an enterprise unless you exceed the expectations of your people first.
Now, you use a word in the book that you say is not a word widely used in business. You use the word love.
Yes.
Tell us about your love for Starbucks.
Well, you know, I've been giving pretty formal speeches in the last couple of weeks, mostly in the U.S., and I start off, my first sentence is, I want to talk about love. Now, I've talked to business schools, I've talked to business people, I've talked to CEOs, and they, when I say the word love, I think they must think, well, what is going on here? And what I want to try and say is that I want to explain to the audiences that I've spoken to that I love Starbucks Coffee Company almost as much as I love my family. There isn't anything I would not do to defend the company, to preserve it, and to try and enhance it. And I want people around me who have that same level of commitment. Now, I also link it to something else, which is the word humanity, because I think that somehow along the way, maybe because of the pressure of Wall Street or other shareholders, that we've come to believe that the sole responsibility of business is to make a profit. Now, I certainly believe that there is a deep fiduciary responsibility for every business to make a profit. But I think it's a pretty shallow goal if that is your singular focus and that is all that you stand for. And I also believe that you can't attract and retain great people if that's all you're in business to do. So the love and humanity is also about creating a value system in which the company stands for something in addition to making money, doing great things for the people that it employs and the communities it serves.